Hello, my friends. This is Mr. Hanson, starting our week off with your video. All right. Um, we are through rhetorical grammar, and this week I'm giving you that time to work on your final paper, which you can turn in by Friday, Sunday-ish. We are going to be starting a new unit, which I would like you to keep up on as much as you can. Now, fortunately, I know all of you should have your new book, Asking the Right Questions. We are going to be reading the first 4 chapters this week. So for Tuesday, if you can do chapters 1 and 2, and then for Thursday, 3 and 4. These are considerably shorter. So I have a list here, right? As a help to you guys, I have also incorporated some PowerPoints. So the first chapter is the benefits of asking the right question. The second one is pitfalls. I don't have a PowerPoint for that, but I think we'll talk about it and we'll be fine. And then chapters 3 and 4, you have what are the issue and conclusion, and then what are the reasons. So this will be our focus this week. On chapters 3 and 4, there is a list of exercises in there on page 29 through 30 and 40 through 41. What I would like you to submit for me on here is just that exercise 3. I just want to make sure that you kind of have a grasp on this and we can have some things that we can talk about. So you don't need to worry about that till about Thursday. But of course, if you have any questions, let me know. I hope that was clear enough. All right. We also have two essays, op-eds, that I would like you to read. Now, the first one is called Stuff is Not Salvation. I would like you to read that juxtaposed with chapters 1 and 2 of Asking the Right Questions. And then your second one, The Busy Trap, by Tim Crater. I put time by mistake. Sorry about that. I would like you to look for what you think the issue and conclusion is, and then maybe consider the reasons. So that's what your response would be for this text. This is in your Brown Norton essay book. They are under op-ed pieces, but if you have the means or would just rather do it, you can read it online. So I have these texts here, just the online version of it. All right, if that makes sense, hopefully it does. But lastly on here, guys, I will also have paper 2 that we can talk about on Tuesday or Thursday. This second paper that you're going to do for me is going to be looking at an op-ed piece, and you could either use one of the two that we've just looked at, or you could look at any other ones that we've done. I would prefer that you don't use the same piece that you've used for your first essay. This paper, what you want to keep in mind is it is going to be done in APA, and it's unfortunate that we don't have more class time to meet to kind of talk about this, but it's not a super hard system. And I think based on what I've heard from some of you guys as far as your degrees are going to go, you might end up using APA a little bit more than MLA. MLA is used more for like the literary side, humanities. APA is more for like psychology and science, and I think medicine uses something a little bit different, but APA might be a little more common in those fields. So I do have a sample paper here, and then I have a spot that I would like you to put your paper, and then this is the rubric for the paper. Now, I would like you to address when you're looking at this paper, I want you to consider whatever essay you choose, and you might want to choose one that's a smidge longer, maybe not one that's just 2 pages. You might want to do a little bit longer. I want you to be able to identify what the issue and conclusion is of the piece, consider some of the reasons that the author lists, consider sources that are ambiguous, which we'll read about. I want you to think about the value and descriptive assumptions, fallacies, think about the evidence types, how well they're used, if there's omitted information, and then if there's other reasonable conclusions or rival causes. All right. I'll let you read through the rest of this, but this will be part of our end portfolio as well. But those are kind of the things that you're going to be looking for, and I can answer questions on that as we come to them. This one is also going to be due, I think, on May 1st. So we have the rest of this month that you can do some work on it. And this paper may in some ways be easier than your first paper. In fact, I think it probably would be. It does logically build from the first, but I think some of the components that you need to include are going to be, I don't want to say more obvious, but I think from the practice that you have from the first one, they shouldn't be exponentially that much more difficult. As a help on this as well, guys, I do have links for like a sample APA paper. This one is a student sample that I have, but this one will take you to a web page on the OWL Purdue that will actually give you some notes. I would strongly recommend that as you're composing this paper that you read through this stuff on your own, kind of see what things are going on. There are a few things that we're probably going to omit, like I'm okay with you omitting the author note because you're not really doing a research component. I think this paper lends itself well to APA because of how you can structure headings and things. But there's some things that you might be able to omit, at least the author's note. The rest of the stuff you might want to still keep in the abstract and all that. So there's that. And then I also have an APA style guide if you have a couple other questions that you want to look into. I won't require that you read all that stuff, but I think you can get most of what you probably need just from reading this sample. All right. And then, of course, guys, I do have paper 3 here for you. This one is not due to the end of the try, but because this paper kind of goes long and you're going to be kind of doing your own research component, that's going to be kind of similar to paper 2, except you're writing your own argument. You might just want to be thinking about this one and maybe starting it at some point. I don't want to say you have to overlap them, but it's something you don't want to like, oh, I'm in my last month and now I have to decide what I'm going to do, if that makes sense. So anyways, guys, that's about all I have. I know I went through that quickly, but I don't want to make you sit through these recordings too long, especially because you have some reading you need to do for me. So if you do have questions for me, guys, please don't hesitate to let me know. My Google Meet channel is always open, so if you want to do a face-to-face or if you have a quick just email question or text message, that's just fine. But anything you need, I'm here for you. I hope you're doing well and you're staying healthy and keeping up with stuff. And just let me know if you're having technological issues, if you're having anything that you need some help with or something to discuss. So I'm here for you. And I'm excited I'm going to be looking through your papers, what you have so far for paper 1 on Monday, and I'll give you some feedback then, hopefully. All right, thanks, guys.